I'm here with Nicola, and I have some questions that I very often hear with the students and other yogis. I want to ask them from Nicola. What do you think? So first one is very basic question. What is yoga? Is it just stretching or what is it?
Yeah, a lot of people ask that. Because yoga is often really perceived as stretching and using the physical body in some way, right? And even in our classes, we start people with physical, with strengthening, with stretching. But it's very far from stretching only. Because in the end, yoga is a philosophy. And when you think about a philosophy is actually something which is a lifestyle, which is a way of life, which the old yogis, I mean, yoga is like more than 5,000 years ago, or they even think even older. The philosophy of life, the science of life, if we would say it like this. So we are nowadays trying to learn how to live. And then when we get introduced into yoga, it's kind of like, yeah, start by stretching your hamstrings. And somebody's like, what does that have to do with it? And I would say, if you start to get to know your body by feeling your hamstrings, you start to discover yourself. And I think that's a very important part. So the physical is very important, but it's not the yoga. It's not the whole of yoga.
Yeah. That is true. And then often I hear this, people say, I cannot do yoga because I'm not flexible enough. So what do you think about that?
Well, that's a really funny one, right?
Yeah.
Because we often say like, well, that's why you do it. That's why you should come. I think the image of the yoga people today is like when you look on Instagram or wherever you see pictures of people doing yoga, is that they are super flexible. And it's often related to young women, you know, they just like a lot of dancers started doing yoga, and yeah, they have a lot of flexibility. And then comes specifically men, they're like very intimidated, they're like, okay, I'm not going to do yoga because I'm not flexible enough. But no, it's not true. So actually it makes you more flexible, and the key is not only the flexibility of the body, but the flexibility of the mind, right? You've noticed this yourself,
yeah.
How you actually start to expand your mind when you start expanding your muscles.
Exactly, yeah. And then I was also thinking this other thing that I sometimes face, that people think that there's some religion or something like behind yoga, or is there something?
I think that's a big thing. A lot of people who are maybe a little bit scared to get into yoga because they think it's religious, and I understand why, because there are rituals, there is discipline, there are things behind which make you think, this reminds me a little bit of my church back in the day. But the big difference is this, that in spirituality and religion are two different things, even though spirituality is part of religion. But religion does not have to be part of spirituality. So meaning that we as yoga practitioners are not doing the practice for the sake of pleasing a god or gods, like in Hinduism where there's many gods. So we don't do it for the sake of that, but we are doing for the exploration of our true selves. So maybe in the end, the spirituality is actually, if you want to see it this way, is a way to get connected to yourself. And through that connection, you start to get connected to something even more. And that's the interesting part, right?
Yeah. It was also, I have this one question also about like what is the difference between yoga and meditation?
Yeah, that's also quite interesting, because some people think it's two different things, and in a way, yes, but yoga is kind of like the overall, that's the science, and basically all the practice of yoga leads towards the meditation, because the meditation leads to what's called liberation, enlightenment. So we want to experience something beyond our body, and that we do through meditation. And that's why yoga itself cannot be separated from meditation, or meditation, it can be separated. I'm saying this because I've been just listening to a Shaolin monk, and there's lots of Buddhism in there, and actually Buddhism and yoga have nothing to do with each other. So there is the practice of meditation outside yoga, but there is no yoga without meditation.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So if I would be new to yoga and I would be very interested, so how do I know what is the best yoga for me?
Gosh, that's really hard. Because there are so much yogas out there, right? And when you, for example, for me, and that was probably for you as well, when you find your system, nowadays there's yoga styles, but Purna Yoga is a system, less than a style, because we have a lineage behind. So when I entered this system, I was like, this is what I want to do, right? So I felt it. But of course, before, I went to different yogas and I didn't know what they were about. So the best thing is to explore. You know, go try different ones. Don't go to one and say like, oh, that is this is the whole yoga and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. It's like you do this yoga and then you go somewhere else and then you go somewhere else and you see, which part is actually what's talking to me most. I would say, like, as a beginner, you know, all yoga has its benefits, but as you start to go a little deeper, you start to realize what are your values, who is sharing your values, right? Because that happened to us. We came in here and we're like, okay, there's something in here which feels right. And that's what yoga makes you develop, that sensitivity to know what is the right yoga for you.
Yeah.
So, exploring.
Yeah, I would say also the same, like for me, I tried different things. I was almost like quitting yoga because I thought that it's too expensive or like that. But when I met Purna Yoga, I was like, okay, this is it. So I think that's true. Exploring, it's the best way to see what fits you.
Yeah. Wow. Great.
But thank you so much for this short discussion and interview.
Yeah, thank you as well, Salla. I hope you found some benefit from this. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. And also remember to subscribe to the channel, get more of our videos, and we look forward to having you there again next time. Bye!
Bye!